Well, good morning, greetings, and welcome again to our quick media availability. And before we get into questions, answers, I want to go through a couple bullet points and items that I'd like to discuss, and then I'll turn it over to Kevin Guthrie, our Assistant County Administrator for Public Safety. So, we've been at this for going on 8 days now, leading up to the prep starting about Tuesday morning last week. And I'd like to kind of start this by really acknowledging, excuse me, some of the awe-inspiring efforts that not only some of our board employees have put out, but also many of our local community partners, like the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, the clerk, the property appraiser, tax collector, board supervisor of elections, in the school district. We just saw. We're not on Duke Energy here. We're a different service provider. So, the school district, the Florida Department of Public Health of Health, who's been here in our EOC, the local charitable organizations such as the Salvation Army, and our churches. We have several evacuees down at Generations Christian Church that helped us close a school so that they could get the school clean to be ready for students next Monday. So, partners throughout the community have really helped us through this and allowed us to get to where we are today. Just a couple quick anecdotes on that. I was sitting in the EOC Monday night back there, and as we were trying to close some of our schools and consolidate our evacuees, get them home back into their homes as well, I sat and watched the Pasco Schools Transportation Services, Robert Borski, work hand in hand with our PCPT transportation group, Rosemary Bruckner, as they coordinated both buses to move in the middle of all the chaos of what schools we were closing when and everything, and how many people were at each school, how many were ambulatory, how many needed wheelchairs and all that, coordinated how we got the buses through all to the 20-something different schools in our community to move people home, to move people back into, to Fasano or some of the shelters we weren't closing at that time, so we could get those elementary schools, those middle schools, those high schools back to the school district so we could clean them so that they could get ready for students and staff later this week and then students on Monday. Another story is, we had a fire rescue captain, Robert First, who helped out a housing and urban development apartment complex with a safety issue. And not only did he assist the facility, he returned to the complex and stayed with the residents until they were transported to safety and the building was secured. So I could probably go on for a long time with different stories of how different community partners have helped out, and we've worked through this. And so I want to say thanks to all our friends, our family, and our neighbors in Pasco County for all your assistance throughout this time. And then as in patience as we go on into the recovery mode. And I don't want to forget our media partners. We rely on you to get the word out, and so I don't want to forget you as well, because you're part of that, helping us get the word out for how our friends and family can move and be safe in various areas. So while the Hurricane Irma could have been much worse, and we were very thankful that she was not what was forecasted first thing Monday morning, that she still left quite a mess across the county. I want to assure you that the county and our partners are committed to helping everyone clean up and recover. Right now we've already opened up our landfills for storm-related debris, where residents can bring debris for free to our landfills. We'll begin picking up storm debris at the curbs or along the roadsides Monday morning, and we will ask that you separate them. We have a flyer that's available that shows you how to separate the debris, so that we can pick up the right stuff at the right time. That would help speed up the service. And we will get that out. It's on our website and on social media, and we can get those out to you as well. What we'd ask is that our residents call our customer service line to register for that service, or email into our customer service or the office here. The phone number is 727-847-2411. And that allows us to make sure that we get that information to our debris haulers so they get that stuff picked up. Now, we're going to start that Monday, but we expect that it's not a one-time and we're done. We expect that to take a while, and that we will be working through that over the next probably 3 to 4 weeks as we clean up the debris throughout the county. We have a pretty amazing GIS group, and I wanted to lead with that because they've created a link in our My Pasco app where our citizens can actually report their own damage. And not only does it put it into our database, it can provide to them a PDF report that they can use for insurance claims or FEMA claims. And that was created back in the back room by our GIS, our internal GIS guys. And then that relates and links directly to our online map where anybody can see where the damage happened in the county. And so, I mentioned a couple stories earlier, but we have some people, amazing people in the back rooms too, doing some amazing works. Our public works crews are out there clearing roadways, working with the sheriff and fire rescue to identify those places, and then coordinating with the power companies where we have issues with lines down in the trees. We're working with them as they restore power to homes and signals. I think we're down to a little under 50 signals without power today. And again, 4-way stops if there's no power there. I know there are some that are barricaded to allow you to do some different movements and to keep those intersections safe. But slowly power is coming back on. Most of the major power companies, the 3 major ones in the county, have pretty much said that they will have power restored for the vast majority of their customers in Pasco County through this weekend. So some maybe by Friday night and some Saturday, but they almost all have said by Monday morning they should have power pretty much restored throughout the county. Keep in mind that we actually would be in a board meeting right now without the hurricane event. So we've had several meetings that have been continued or postponed to next week between the Planning Commission, the board budget hearings that were scheduled for today that would have started at 9 a.m. That will be next week on next Tuesday. And then our MPO meeting that would have been tomorrow and the Development Review Committee, which would have been tomorrow afternoon, are both rescheduled and continued until next week. So, this has dominoed into our public meetings and our business process. And so we've continued and rescheduled those for next week. And all that information is on our website. And again, we have a hotline for volunteers. We have a great community here. The response from our community and our neighbors and our friends has been overwhelming. To come and help out their friends and neighbors that have had damage that they may have missed. But if you're looking for somewhere to help out and for somewhere to volunteer in the community, we have a hotline for you that will connect you to groups that are out there helping out, and that's 727-847-8940. Again, that's 727-847-8940. As we saw the tremendous response to Harvey and how the community came together to help each other out, we're seeing the same thing here in Pasco County, because that's the kind of people we are in this community. Again, any updates are available on our website. That's pascocountyfl.net, to include the heat map that actually shows where we've got damage reports and what roads are closed, what roads we're working on. And that's out there available, and we're keeping that pretty up to date as we get damage in and as we clean stuff up and close things out on the back end. So the latest information is on our Facebook page, website, and our Twitter. And the Facebook is facebook.com/Pasco County. And, I think we got about 20 different Twitter pages out there working. The main one is at Pasco County PIO. Then you can follow mine because they're all linked together right now, and that's Dan_Biles if you want to get to that one. So anyway, I want to turn it over to Kevin Guthrie right now. He can go into more details of where we are in the recovery effort, and then we'll open up for questions when we're done. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Administrator. I want to first start off and again reiterate what Dan just said is thank you to our community partners. I cannot tell you how many community partners and constitutional officers have made this come to fruition. And, emergency management on a day-to-day basis is about 7 employees. Emergency management over the last 8 days has been several thousand employees. And that is what emergency management is. And we do what we do on a day-to-day basis, but we go into overdrive and fast forward to get things done for people. And I am very, very proud of the men and women of all of our constitutional offices, all of our stakeholders and partners, and the way that they have rallied around the flag to help us get things done. I will say that we are not over. We've got a long ways to go. The recovery, I've told our teams many, many times that responders respond, and when there's a disaster, they are in their element. because everybody's in need of help. But when we go into recovery mode, that's when we usually have problems with the community and our neighbors saying, why are they not responding? What's going on? We always get judged by the recovery, not necessarily by the response. So I tell all of our residents, we are here. We are working through this recovery. We are going to work very diligently to get your needs and unmet needs solved. So with that being said, again, thank you to all of our partners. Also, thanks to everyone who has reported their damage. I spoke with the division director at the Florida Division of Emergency Management, and he is actually looking very forward to seeing what we've developed here in Pasco County as potentially a best practice to use throughout the state and perhaps even the nation. So I'm very happy with our GIS officials and getting that stuff done. We're working with our shelter teams right now to return a residents home. Our census as of a couple of hours ago was somewhere around about 150, give or take, on individuals that are still in the shelter. In essence, most all of those individuals are people that are either A, without power, or B, have suffered from river flooding. For anybody that has been impacted by the river flooding or still at a power loss, if you're in need of assistance, you need a shelter, the Fasano shelter is open on Hudson Boulevard, and you're more than welcome to go there and take care, ask for assistance and get assistance for them. And I said Hudson, in Hudson on Denton is where the location is at. Again, in Hudson, Florida on Denton. As the county administrator mentioned, Pasco County Utilities will start picking up storm debris on Monday. We did have this on our monitor until we lost power, but I'm going to let you guys zoom in on this if you wish to do so. This particular sheet of paper is going to be sent to every person in Pasco County, every household. That's where we're looking for. And it gives very, very clear direction on how that debris needs to be lined up along the roadway. Since I am on a regional media market here, I will go ahead and say every emergency management organization in our region, in our viewing area, will need the debris set up the exact same way. Every county, every city, it needs to be set up this exact same way along the curb line. This is an industry standard, so it needs to go out to everyone. That will start again on Monday, and we will be running for several weeks. I have advised our elected officials group this morning that when we start to see less debris at the curb, we will then come up with a definitive date, but we will give our residents 2 weeks notice of when that end date is. And at that end date, that will be the end date. And we will need to ensure that all of that debris is at the curb by that end date. We cannot stress enough to be aware of unlicensed contractors. I am not going to show a county ID, but I will tell you, because we don't want it reduplicated, I will tell you that every person that is a county representative or even a municipal representative has a ID, asked to see that ID. We will never charge for any service on your property. If we have to come onto your property, we will ask that you complete legal forms. I'm not going to say what those legal forms are because I don't want somebody to try to duplicate them. But there are legal forms that will have to be completed. There is IDs that will have to be shown, and we will never ask for any money from any of our taxpayers. We've had this happen in the city of Zephyr Hills today, or over the last couple of days, and I will tell you there are people out there trying to steal your money. They are trying to fraudulently take your money. So please understand, if that happens, report it immediately to the authorities, report it immediately to the sheriff's office, and let us get on board with getting those individuals arrested if we can. This goes into unlicensed. Next phase of this goes into unlicensed contractors. Ask to see a person's license. Go to the internet. Verify that they have a license. Verify they're a valid company. For an unlicensed contractor to do work in a state of emergency is a third-degree felony. Again, report unlicensed contractors that are doing work in our county, in our municipalities. Also remember you can report any damage using your MyPasco app, as the county administrator alluded to earlier. We also continue to want to remind you to go to pascocountyfl.net for the latest updates. We do have a lot of people impacted. There's people impacted all over the state of Florida. You've seen a lot of rescue units from out of county, out of state. You've seen the National Guard here. Some of those assets are going to be leaving and going to South Florida, where they have much worse devastation. We are freeing those assets up. The Pasco County Fire Department has already been requested to assist in southern counties. The Pasco County Emergency Management Team has been asked to assist in other counties to our south. But I want to assure, as you see resources starting to leave, we're not going to leave and help our neighbors to the south until we know that our own residents are taken care of. I got a text message, or I shouldn't say a text message, a Facebook post this morning from my friend and mentor, one of my friends and mentors that taught me what I know in Marathon. He lives there, and his house is completely destroyed. So, we're going to try in the future to go down and help some of our partners. Monroe County is a county that we have an agreement with, that we go and assist. That county as a sister county through emergency management. But as soon as we can, we're going to try to start assisting some of our neighbors, but not until we get our residents taken care of and back on their feet. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our fire training chief, Shawn Whited, to talk about some generator safety, and then we'll take questions, which will most likely be facilitated by Dan Biles. Shawn?
Good morning. I just want to make sure everybody's being safe out there with our generators. Early this morning, we had an incident at a residence where some people were overcome by the fumes of their generator that was running. If you have a generator, you should already have a CO2 detector. That should be something you bought with the generator. That should be running on batteries. We want to make sure that if you're using a generator, that it's outside. It's not in your garage. It's not in a crawl space. It's not even on your back patio, even if it's well ventilated. We want to make sure that you get a lot of fresh air around that generator so we don't have any carbon monoxide incidents like we had this morning. Also, if you have no power and you're using candles, or if you have no power and you were doing something cooking, or you don't know what was turned on, it's always safe to make sure before the power, when you know the power is about coming on, turn off your breakers and then turn them on one by one and make sure everything is operating correctly, so we don't have any unintentional fires that happen by the power coming back on at your residence. That's all that I have. Kevin?
We're going to go back to Dan. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. And so I'm going to start off with a question we've gotten off our Facebook Live feed, and it's really about, emergency declaration came out of that the president made regarding FEMA declaration in the state of Florida, and it included a lot of counties in two different parts of the declaration. Pasco County was included in one part of that, but was not included in another. And so what I'm going to do is let Kevin answer the detailed question, or the detailed specifics at what the difference is between the individual assistance part of the declaration and then where we were as a county. So,
Right. Thank you, Dan. So individual assistance is at the homeowner and business level. So in the declaration to the counties to our south, they got an automatic declaration, which means that they do not need to prove to FEMA that they qualify for that assistance. Now, we have already gone out and requested through Congressman Gus Bilirakis' office, as well as Senator Nelson's office, Senator Rubio's office, for Pasco County to be included in that automatic declaration. It doesn't mean we're not going to get that assistance. It just puts the burden of proof on us as a county government to then document who's out there with assistance, in need of assistance, and the damage that they have, so that we can then notify FEMA that we believe we have a claim. They will come and verify our claim, and then we will move forward to getting our individual homeowners assistance. The biggest thing our homeowners need to understand is we may or may not get approved for that claim. And then if we do get approved for that claim, there is a delay process. It'll probably be a week to 10 days before all of that can be done. And then the state gives us, or I should say the state, that FEMA gives us our declaration. What we have been approved for is specifically the public assistance. So all of the taxpayer money, taxpayer dollars that have been spent on getting us ready for this disaster, responding to the disaster, all of the salary, all of the overtime, all of the equipment, the generators that we've had, all of that is completely reimbursable now at 100%. And again, we want to thank Congress and the White House for doing that for us. Usually there is a 12.5% cost at the county level, but we've been able to get that covered by 100% based on what they did in Hurricane Harvey, and they extended that into Hurricane Irma as well. So again, we do want to thank our federal partners for getting that done, but again, Gus Bilirakis and his office, along with Senator Bill Nelson and Senator Marco Rubio, they are working the issues at their level, the federal government, to get Pasco County added to the automatic declaration for individual assistance. But we will continue as a county to push forward in getting our county added through the traditional processes, making the case for it. So that's where we're at on that. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, other questions?
Do you have an idea yet how much you have spent preparing OT?
So the question is, do we have any idea how much we have spent to date? And I have a general, but I think Kevin has a more specific number.
So at the numbers I got yesterday, CT, we had spent actual payout, if you will, in the process of the check being written, about 600 to 700,000. I will tell you, we have encumbered. We know the bills are coming for about $3 million. So that's where we're at. We have sent some resources back. Originally, for instance, we asked for a team for 14 days that had an associated cost of X, but because we have got, we let them go in 7 days, there will be some fluctuation in that 3 million number. But encumbered expenses right now about 3 million. The actual payouts and credit card payments and stuff like that, we're looking at about 600,000-700,000.
On the FEMA situation, if I'm a homeowner or a property owner and that declaration does come through and Pasco will be covered, what does that mean to me as an individual who's damaged? I mean, does it mean my deductible is going to be covered, or are they doing, if I particularly already have homeowners or whatever, and is there a threshold, a dollar amount?
Yeah, there is. So CT's question is a great question, and if anybody's watched us over the last 19 months that I've been here, we've answered this question a lot, but it does need to be reiterated, and I appreciate you asking the question. The question is, how much can I expect from FEMA if we get that declaration as a business owner or as a homeowner? I'm going to talk in averages. The average payout for a homeowner in the state of Florida that under a declaration over the last numerous years, 10 years I believe is what they keep their records on, the state of Florida has told us that our average has been about $6,000 payout. But again, the next point I think is the even more staggering bullet point, and that is the maximum dollar amount that FEMA will pay out on any type of disaster at the individual assistance level, the homeowner level, is $36,000. They are not a stopgap for insurance. If you had no insurance on your home, the most you're ever going to get from FEMA is $36,000. But the average payout for homeowners in disasters over the last X amount of years, and I got this information in April when we were doing our preparedness campaign, was the average payout is about $6,000 from FEMA. That does not go a long ways. So this is always a time for us to reiterate, homeowners' first line of defense, renters' first line of defense is insurance.
Thank you. You had a question, sir?
Yes. How should residents separate their debris?
All right.
Again,
Look at that flyer.
I'm going to actually put this flyer up for you, and if the county administrator wants to take the question, that's fine. So the debris is just like we have it pictured here. Again, we had this on our monitor until we lost power, but we are requesting people to separate their category according to this picture. And then we're going to send this flyer to everyone in Pasco County. Every rooftop in Pasco County is going to get this in the next couple of days. This is how it's not an option. If homeowners do not put it at the curb in this format, we will not pick it up. It has to be separated. That is a requirement of FEMA. It's a requirement of the state for us to separate it. As you see, white goods here, mud and what we call muck and gut type materials here, the sheetrock, the contaminated materials that went through the flooding process. You see carpet there, you see sheetrock materials, followed by the hazardous materials, the household hazardous chemicals, propane, bleach, and so on, followed by electronics, And then I know on here somewhere is vegetative materials. Thank you, Tambry,
it's way
for
back
doing
over
that for me. So you see over here, you have vegetative, followed by white goods, followed by those muck and gut materials, followed by the household hazardous chemicals, and then finally we have down there electronics. It needs to be separated like that. That's not just for Pasco County. That is for all counties in the state of Florida, is across the nation. It has to be done that way.
We also have, if you could mention, we have an instructional video
Right.
on our homepage under the debris removal press release.
Yeah, so just I'll reiterate that. We have an instructional video of how to separate your waste and your debris on our homepage. And so you can go there, you can see the link, you can watch it, watch how it's done, and then put your debris out in the same order, in the same fashion.
You mentioned Pasco Utilities, but I mean, you have contractors lending a hand too. You don't physically have the manpower to do this kind of cleanup.
Correct. Yes. So yes. Solid Waste is the one that manages the contract, and we have a debris management firm that does that. And then we have a debris collection firm that they will be the ones actually out there collecting the debris and then bringing it to our landfills as we distribute it. So, yes, sir.
It's in the event that they don't have internet and aren't able to watch a video, or
Right.
they don't have power and can't see this, what do those residents do with
So we are working to get it into their mailbox, into the mailbox of every resident in the county, so that they get it in the mail like they get everything else. So we are working on that too.
Call customer service. We have
And they can call customer service, which is, let me, 727-847-2411. I know it, I just like to read it to make sure I get it right.
What areas are still experiencing flooding or are experiencing?
Okay, so we have three different river basins that are in a various form of flood stage. The biggest two are the Anclote and the Withlacoochee River. The Anclote has reached flood stage and it starts to subside, so that's the southeast portion of the county, the Elfers area, and that's impacting some other subdivisions that typically you wouldn't say are in the basin, but because it's at flood stage, they are having trouble draining to it. So some subdivisions along the Trinity area, in that area, having trouble draining to it because the Anclote's so high. The Withlacoochee is actually still rising. That's in the very northwest or east portion of the county. And so we're watching that, working to make sure the residents out there that would impact that, understand that it's coming because it's still rising and are out of the floodway. And we have another small one, but again, that's I can't remember the name of the creek. Cypress Creek. That also, but it probably won't reach flood stage. It looks like its crest will stay below flood stage.
So the Elfers and a couple Trinity neighborhoods
Right.
now that actually have water.
Yeah, in the roads. Along the Anclote, we have water, I think, in some manufactured homes. So, but those are homes that that have flooded in the past. They're repetitive losses.
I had a question about, the Anclote River project where they've been dredging. Have you guys seen that that's been of help in this embed?
So I think the project's been approved out at the mouth of the Anclote in Pinellas County. I don't think they've actually started work yet. So I think it's been approved through the process, been funded, but I don't think it started work yet.
She maybe also talked about the duck slough improvements.
We did do some improvements up above that, and yes, they are helping in that area. But again, with the area of the Anclote that's flooding, it's less than what it flooded, I want to say, in Debbie a few years ago. I think it actually ended up being 2 feet less than that flood event. All right. Well, again, thank you for your help too. I mean, getting the word out. That's what you do for us. We appreciate that as well. So, thank you.